story is what I'm involved with. Brian Fowler is going to present Northstar Gold. I've been involved with Northstar for about a year and a half, and met Brian along the way. I'll let him get into it, but Brian's a 40-year geologist up in our region. He spent many years with Placer Dome Gold. He's worked on both the geology side of our business as well as the capital market side. He's built public companies, raised tens of millions of dollars, and we have an exciting management team all around. But it's really fun to work with Brian, and I think we have a great story here. And I'll let Brian tell it. Cheers.
Thanks, Derek. It's a pleasure to be here. I welcome the opportunity to present Northstar Gold Corp. Launching into, I've got the obligatory cautionary statement. I will be making some forward-looking statements. Prior to going public, January the 2nd of this year, Northstar operated as a private company in northeastern Ontario in the prolific Abitibi-Greenstone Belt and Kirkland Lake District. Our flagship property is the Miller Gold property. It's 100% owned. It's 18 kilometers southeast of Kirkland Lake. We also have a gold property 35 kilometers to the south called the Bryce Gold property. And our third 100% owned property is the Milestone Copper Nickel Cobalt property. Why Kirkland Lake? 24 million ounces from 7 mines. It's a great address. It's a great place to be. Prior to going public, the company augmented its board, special advisor, management group. You can see we've got a group of accomplished and highly skilled professionals, highly experienced in mining, exploration, development, capital markets, investment banking, and finance. Our share structure as it stands today is we got 38.8 million shares outstanding, 47.3 million shares on a fully diluted basis. We've got $1.8 million in the bank, and we have no debt. We have a very nice, tight share structure. Just under half the shares are owned by management, directors, and insiders. And our last financing, we saw some institutional investment in the company as well. So since we went public, we've had a fairly steady news flow announcing the closing of the $3 million IPO and listing on the CSE. In late February, we announced the commencement of our 3,000-meter diamond drill program on the Miller Gold property. And in mid to late March, we announced and shortly thereafter announced the closure of a $1 million flow-through financing. And then in mid-April, fortunately, we had to announce a temporary suspension of drilling at the Miller Gold property due to COVID-19 issues and problems. So getting back to our flagship property, the Miller Gold property, it's 1,100 hectares. It's centered over the historic Boston Creek mining camp. It shares a number of very important geological similarities with the Kirkland Lake deposits, that being the style of mineralization being gold and with tellurides, fairly high grade. The deposits on the Kirkland camp are situated along the Cadillac Larder Break and first order structures off of that. And the same kind of goes with the Miller Gold property. We have a Catherine Fault, which joins up those structures to the west. We also have similar age rocks. The age of mineralization is the same as the Kirkland camp. So the inference is that the Miller property is tapping the same gold source as the Kirkland camp. Major important difference being that exploration in Miller has been very shallow to date, and we've got a lot of upside. So zooming into the property, it's centered over a 3 kilometer by 2 kilometer zone of intense alteration and mineralization associated with these alkalic, what are called alkalic cyanide intrusive stocks, and a broad mineralized zone and envelope associated with them. These stocks intrude mafic volcanics. There's historic work on the property, and in the early 1900s with Miller Independence Mine, which saw in late 1987, a group came in and drilled 27 shallow holes and defined a historic estimate of 270,000 ounces of gold at 11.5 grams per ton. This occurs in a kind of east-northeast or east-northeast trending and shallow north dipping vein structure. Northstar owns the entire the west half of it, plus all the down dip extent of it. In addition to this estimate, we also have what's called a exploration target on the planet cyanide, where we've got indications of up to between 3 to 5 million tons, averaging between 1 and 3 grams per ton, which could translate into a significant amount of gold associated with these cyanides. Two styles of mineralization here: high-grade gold in veins with tellurides in all rock types, pretty much, and broad low-grade zones associated with the margins and peripheries of these cyanide intrusions. Northstar acquired the property in 2012, put $2 million into it prior to this year, and that work consisted primarily of drilling 27 holes, just under 6,000 meters, testing a number of these targets. So some of the results from that drilling, you can see broad low-grade intercepts, gram-type intercepts over 97.5 meters, gram over 104 meters in the allied cyanide. Plus, there's narrow, higher-grade intercepts, 40 grams over a meter in the allied planet cyanide, similar, 0.6 grams over 148 meters. The number one vein where we hit it you get some very compelling grades as well. So the property's got two very significant styles of mineralization, and the cyanide seems to be the core of the whole mineralizing system. Between February 22nd and April 4th, the company drilled 2,211 meters and 13 holes prior to having to suspend drilling due to COVID situation. This map just illustrates the location of the main historic estimate. About half the holes that we drilled were within the estimate domain, twinning previous holes and then stepping out a bit. And then the other half of holes were directed towards vein-style mineralization in the D vein to the west of the property, as well as and then to the north on the allied cyanide for intrusive posted-style mineralization. When we hope to we intend to report all our drill results by the end of the month, the end of May, and hopefully resume drilling thereabouts. We'd like to continue with our program and drill up to another 14 holes in 1,200 meters. This all depends on the COVID situation in Ontario. So, in summary, I'd like to hope that I convince you that the Miller Gold property is a property of merit. Northstar represents a very solid entry-level gold exploration bet. We've got a very tight share structure, proven board of directors and management. The stock has performed very well through a very aggressive marketing campaign. The share price is up 70% since the IPO. We're fully funded. Our news flow will continue. Like I said, we're going to be coming out with drill results here fairly soon, and hopefully a resumption of drilling. We have a very substantial geophysics program that's going to kick off in June and over the entire property, and this will provide the premise and basis for a phase 2 4,000 meter drill program, which is fully funded. We expect that to kick off in August, mid-August, and all of this is leading up to a 43-101 resource, a maiden resource that we hope to be able to put out by Q1 2021. Thank you for listening.
Okay, good. For Brian Fowler, I'll just Andrew Kennedy had posted a question, and he was asking about the depth of drilling on the Miller property. He says that he followed the Kirkland Lake story for a long time, and it seemed that the higher grade mineralization was at a depth lower than your drilling. Why are you not drilling lower, and can you comment on that?
Good question. These systems have incredible continuity depth-wise, as well as along strike. We've got the Miller is not a one-trick pony, which is great. We've got great broad zones of mineralization within two of the intrusives. We also have the number one vein, which is a flat line and dips towards the cyanide. It's always best to try to limit your initial drilling shallow and try to find your resource that's much more economic the closer to surface. And the number one vein zone is certainly near surface and has a shallow dip. dipping towards the cyanide, towards the heart of our property. Our deepest holes are probably in the 300-meter range, and they would be within the allied cyanide area to the north, chasing the number 1 vein north, as well as chasing bulk tonnage style mineralization and high grade within the allied cyanide. Hope I answered that.
Well, that's great.